All right, welcome back to another episode of the Unleash Your Radiance podcast. I'm your host, Lorena Christine, and I'm so excited to be joined by a very, very special, exciting guest today. I am joined by Laura Niese, who is a Bali-based business coach who helps her clients fill their offers and DMs with perfect match clients through manifestation, identity work, self-concept, magnetism, and premium messaging. She is also the founder of the Soft Girl Marketing Method. Laura, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. I know this is going to be such a fun chat. I know that my audience members are going to absolutely love it, get so much value from this today as well. Laura, I always love to ask everyone who comes on the podcast, what does radiant living mean to you?
To me, radiant living would just mean living life authentically.
Mm,
So you're not necessarily people pleasing or, you know, living a life that isn't meant for you. You're just following your bliss and living the life that makes you feel the most radiant and makes you feel the most alive, whatever that is for you.
I love that. That's such a great response because yes, I'm all about that as well. It's just like living life to the beat of your own drum and doing what feels aligned and authentic for you, like kind of on that soul level, like listening to those whispers and your intuition that's coming through and following that, not like, the path that's all paved out for us of what society tries to dictate is the best way to be. So yeah, love that. Amazing. Laura, so I'd love to kind of dive in a little bit about your story, about how you got involved in marketing and messaging and mixing in the spirituality aspect of it, and also what brought you to Bali. And like, because I know I've been following you, I think for a few years now, and just like loved watching, your lifestyle of being Bali, doing fun things, and like really travel is a huge love of mine as well. So I think that's kind of where I maybe started following you from. I can't quite remember, but yeah, I would love to hear a little bit about your story of where that all came from.
Yeah, there's been because I've been coaching for 6 years. So there's definitely been a couple different evolutions of how I got to where I am.
Yeah.
But in general, how I just got to Bali, I was actually a pediatric oncology and bone marrow transplant for 4 years, bone transplant nurse for 4 years. I ended up getting fired, manifested that, of course, because I'm a master manifester, but I ended up getting fired back in 2019. And I
Mm,
already kind of had one foot out the door at that point. This was when influencer marketing had just become a thing. I had a travel blog at the time as well. I was trying every sort of side hustle to get out of that nursing job. So when I got fired, it was kind of a blessing in disguise. And immediately I bounced over to Bali. I gave myself 6 months to try and figure out how to make money online. And when I first was over here, I was trying everything. I was doing social media management. I was hustling. I was even staying in a hostel and I was like trying to get a free stay at the hostel by doing their social media. And eventually it just came really natural to me to do business coaching. I started working with influencers to help them land free collaborations and receive and switch those into paid collaborations and launched my first course within, I think, 5 months of moving to Bali. And
wow.
then it was just something that came really natural to me. And with the blog and also with my background, because in college I was obsessed with writing and I was writing for the sorority newspaper. So I think writing also came naturally to me. And yeah, that was the first kind of iteration of how I got to where I am. And then from there, fast forward, I guess, 4 more years while coaching online, I just recognized that the one thing that really helped people make a lot of sales and create a lot more cash flow in their business was the messaging aspect of things. So
Hmm.
that's when I really just dialed in on that and made that one of my main focuses, which was really great. I was able to position myself as an expert in that. However, I felt like I was missing a certain piece, which was the self concept piece. Like I felt like when I did dial in on one thing, it was great for business, but I just felt like, yeah, the self concept, the manifestation aspect just makes your business feel a lot more flowy and easeful and magical. So I started incorporating that in my business more recently.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. Yeah, thanks for sharing your story. I love that, like the transition over the years of like travel blogging, going to Bali, like really trusting your nudge as well, like trusting, okay, and I love that you said you manifested losing your job. I have definitely had that happen before as well. It can feel like such a like, oh shit, rock bottom moment at the time, but then you're like, wait, actually, this is an opportunity for me to like go after what it is I really wanted to like want to do. So I love that you like took that initiative, went over to Bali, and then yeah, you've been there ever since now, right?
Yeah, I never left.
That's
I love it
amazing.
here. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's
I totally
amazing.
agree. I feel like when you start manifesting the things you want, at first it can kind of feel a bit rocky because I feel like the universe clears a lot out for you and you're
Yeah,
like let it, like you'll go through a breakup or you'll lose a job or
yeah.
I don't know, something will happen and you'll have to move away. Like it always clears things out to create that new path for you.
Totally. It's letting go of that old, like an energetically as well as physically to let in with the new of what it is you're calling in. And it's always like trusting that it's something better is coming along, which can feel like really difficult at the time. I wanted to kind of touch on, I know you said sort of the bringing that manifestation self-concept with the business side of it, because I totally feel that as well. And that's something like I love seeing in the space also is like that's mixing in that the feminine and masculine energetics, right? We need both. Like if we're just so stuck in the masculine, like focusing just on the strategy, just on the business, yeah, you can definitely get results, but like it's like leaning into that feminine side of it and like again the identity work, like leaning into receivership, like being magnetic, like all that stuff as well, leaning back more, having that masculine support structure in place to allow yourself to have that incredible success in your business as well. And I know that's something you're very big on in your business and your lifestyle also.
Yeah, and I have teetered between the two. Like when I first started my business, I was so in my masculine with it.
Mhm.
And then I completely did a 180 and went 100% feminine. And that also didn't serve me.
Yeah.
And then it was like I teetered back to being a bit more masculine again. Like I feel like for the past 4 years, I've been back and forth, back and forth. And it's always been a challenge of me to kind of figure out what the in between is. And I think I finally have nailed it after 4 years.
Amazing.
But it's been a minute figuring it out.
I completely get that. It is hard to balance it. And I think so many, especially like women in the entrepreneurial space, women in general, a lot of us are like programmed to be heavy in the masculine, like in that achiever, like high success, going after it, hustling, which of course we do need. There's seasons of that, right? When you're first starting a business, like you have to be kind of in a hustle state to like, if you want to achieve those results at a certain pace. But there's that balance. And I think when you sort of start diving in, I know this happened for me as well, when I started learning a little bit more about the feminine, and then I like just went again way over and I was like, ooh, this is so flowy. But it was like no structure. I was like all over the place, super floaty. I wasn't getting anything done. And I was like, okay, I need more masculine as well. Like I need both because I'm also a generator in human design. So like when I'm like into something, when I'm doing it, like I can work like 14-hour days, but I don't get tired or burnt out because I love doing it. But I need to like sort of rein that back again. And I've been bringing in like cycle syncing, for instance, more into my business and lifestyle, because if I do that, for instance, when I'm like about to get my period, then I'm just going to wear myself out massively and feel like burnt out, resentful, like not loving things. But yeah, it's finding that balance, which is so key.
Exactly. And yeah, after these past 4 years, I finally figured it out and created what you mentioned already, my soft girl marketing system,
Mhm.
which is all about first off, just figuring out the self concept that you need to have in order to attract all of your desires with ease. Because what I found is when you go heavy in the strategy, things
Mhm.
work and like you sign clients and it works, but it doesn't feel as fun
Or good.
and it
Yeah.
doesn't work as quick or like feel as magic as it does when you start to do the manifestation work on top of it. Like I feel like once you start to embody the version of you who is really magnetic and really radiant and attracts money like magic and all the things, and you start building those beliefs on top of having that really simple foundational system for attracting clients, it just it yeah, it works so
It,
much better.
yeah, I totally feel that as well. Because if you're like constantly in that like hustle, if you haven't done that identity or self concept portion, maybe you're coming from this place of lack or scarcity. You're like, need clients. And it feels very grabby energy, right? Like if you think about like dating, it's like if you're coming on as this like clingy person, the other person's going to be like, whoa, what's happening here? And like, it's going to repel that more. But when you're like, yeah, I'm in your magnetism, like people are attracted to you. It's like attraction-based marketing essentially, right? In
Yeah.
that sense as well. Yeah. And it
Yeah,
does make
for
it
sure.
more
And it's
fun.
just, yeah. And it's just about living in that knowing state as well. Like when you are in this energy of like the clients are coming, the money is coming, I like it, I already have it. Like
Yeah.
you're already in that deep knowing state. I feel like things start to work really in your favor as well. And the things I've noticed too is when you start doing the self concept work and the manifestation work, I feel like more avenues open up for income streams as well and like more opportunities. Like lately,
Mhm.
I've been booking random collaborations with brands, which that hasn't appeared for me in years. Or I had someone message me and they wanted to do my hair for free. Or I don't know, just lots of different things. Like even in the dating scene, I feel like I've been attracting a lot more. So I feel like when you just focus so heavy on the business side of things, it's almost like you clamp down on it so
Yeah.
hard that your receiving channels are blocked to everything else around you. But when you start to work on your self concept, I just feel like more things open up and everything just feels a lot lighter and easier. And I would say just more fun as well.
Yeah, I definitely have felt that before also. And it's, I think sometimes we need to like reel ourselves back in because it's so easy to kind of like fall back into those old ways. And speaking of like the dating side of things, I think I would just sent you a message yesterday, like, because I've been working on my identity self-concept as well, feeling like more magnetic lately. And I was just walking down the street and like this guy just like smiled at me, like really like genuine smile. And I was just like, oh, like this is so nice, you know? And I was like, you can feel, that's when people feel your energy. You're getting like they're receptive to it, right? Again, because you're attracting that back to you. So I love that you brought up those like dating scenarios, which is true. You're bringing in more aligned opportunities in business, like collaborations, like you're saying, dating, friendships, like all sorts of things. You're just open to receive like in what's in vibrational match for the energy that you're putting out as well.
Exactly. And it's so true what you said about that raising that vibrational match. That's essentially kind of what I've been doing every single day is how can I just feel 1% better today? And so I've created this ritual where I'm doing lots of things throughout the day where I'm continuously raising my frequency and vibration. And essentially that's how you know that your manifestations and your desires are on their way to you is just because you feel better.
Yeah,
Because I know a lot of times we're so attached to the outcome, which is totally normal because if you want something so bad, you're going to be thinking about it. I feel like there's no way to
of
fully
course.
detach from the things we really, really want. But as long as you're just feeling better every single day and you feel your vibration rising, that's all you need to know and to believe that your manifestation and your desires are on their way to you. So things I've been doing during the day to kind of raise my energetic state
Hmm.
is I recorded these it's almost like I'm talking to myself because you have the voice memos app on your phone. And so I recorded these rampages to myself where essentially I'm like, oh my gosh, so much money just flew into my bank account. Of course it did because I've been so magnetic lately. I know I'm the prize. Like so many people want to work with me. Like it's just this rampage to myself and I'll play it 2 to 3 times a day.
Mm.
And the first, I would say the first 3 days when I would play it, I almost felt uncomfortable because it just wasn't
Okay.
my reality. And I was almost getting anxiety playing it. So I will say if you do create these rampages for yourself, just give it a week for it to settle
Yeah.
in. Cause I've been doing it now. I made in my Google Docs, I've been tracking how I feel every single day and the manifestations that have been coming through meticulously. Like I'm like, this is all the things. And yeah, like those first 4 days, I was having nightmares because I was also playing subliminals overnight as well. And
Okay.
like, I was just like, my body was like, this is not your reality. It was in freak out mode. And now I think after 2 weeks, it's been, I think almost 16 days.
Yeah.
It's, it's starting to feel like my identity. Like I woke up today and I was like, yeah, I have that much money in my bank account, even though I don't yet. I just kind of was like, yeah, I have that. Like it's coming. It's starting to sink in more.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that you're sharing that and like also the fact that like yeah, it's true. It's like you have to let that sort of sink in and catch up because it's not instantaneous. Where I think sometimes people think like, "Oh, I'll just listen to some affirmations like one day while I'm like making my breakfast, not fully like paying attention to them and then things are going to manifest." And they're like, "Affirmations don't work." And it's like, there's so much more that goes into it, but it does take time. It's that repetition and consistency to really start working on that identity portion as well. And then like over time, all of a sudden one day you're gonna be like, oh, that's in my reality now. Like, and it's
Yeah.
just gonna like feel so natural. So I totally love the rampage though. And I know we were talking about that before. I've done something similar. I create myself like affirmation tracks, like because your subconscious loves your own voice. Other people's
Yeah.
voices still work, but when it's your own voice, like it picks up on it so good. And yeah, subliminals, I can never say that word right. Subliminals in your sleep is such a great way to do that as well. What else? Like I'd love to hear because I know you've like been sharing quite openly on your socials as well about your new identity and self-concept journey. Like what else is in your routine like that you do, or what else have you been including in that?
Yeah, it's actually quite simple because I feel like it's really not any sort of magical formula. I feel like we overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
What I like to do in the morning is some sort of like abundance meditation or some sort of meditation related to like momentum in business or success in business. And
Hmm.
what I found is after I do something like that, like any sort of a visualization or a meditation in the morning, after that, I'll feel really inspired. And usually that's when some idea will drop in for me to take aligned action on. So it'll be this little nudge from my higher self that's just like, oh, you should create a piece of content about this, or you should go on your stories and talk about this, or you should go to this cafe. And then I'll go to the cafe and I'll speak to someone who's at the cafe and get an idea about something else. It's like,
Hmm.
the meditations or the visualizations, whatever you want to do. I like visual guided visualizations more, but it's like whatever you do after that, I feel like the ideas drop in. And before that, when I wasn't doing that, and when I was really stuck in consuming a lot of other people's content,
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of blocked the ideas for my higher self. And I feel like I started kind of sounding like other people online. So I
Yeah.
had to do like a 7. Well, now I don't even look at other people's content anymore unless I'm scrolling for trending sounds or something like that. But I had to just stop looking at other people's content because I felt it's kind of like the law of authenticity. Like I feel like I could tell I wasn't sounding like myself anymore. And I feel like that was also kind of blocking the flow of money and clients to me. And so I challenged myself to, yeah, not look at anyone else's content, do my meditations in the morning, and then from there take the inspired action.
That's really, I love that you mentioned the scrolling other people's content, like starting to not sound like yourself anymore. I definitely experienced that as well. And it's like we can fall into that trap of like getting ideas, reading other people's things, and like you don't even realize you're doing it. And then you're like, because you're seeing it, right? Subconscious is picking it up. Of course, you're like, oh, this is how I'm gonna start talking. And then you're like, what? And then I feel like you just get this like complete, it's almost like a brain block. Like you're not retaining information. It's like a brain, like basically it's what like a brain freeze. And it's hard to like come up with content ideas and all different things like that as well. And I think that's so important. Like I love that you mentioned the law of authenticity is like still knowing, like spending that time with yourself, allowing for that clarity, the downloads to come through, connecting with your higher self, and like coming from that place of like what you want to talk about is really, really important. So yeah, thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that. And I know you mentioned guided visualizations. I love Joe Dispenza. I do
Yeah.
his quite often as well. I find them so powerful.
Yeah. He's amazing. I love binging his YouTube videos.
Yeah, yeah, he's got such amazing ones on there as
I would,
well.
yeah. I'm like, can I manifest? I feel like he has a retreat in Fiji. I don't know if that's him or Tony Robbins, but either
Ooh,
way, I'm like, can I
either way.
manifest going to going to one of his events because that would be epic.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to be at a retreat in Fiji right now. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Um, what's like when it comes to like manifestation, what's some of like the most epic things you've manifested in your life before?
Ooh. Well, I definitely manifested getting fired from my job and moving
Got
to
you to where you are
Bali.
now.
Yeah, like I remember because back then influencers were just coming out because this was in 2018. So I remember following this really cute influencer couple, Marie Fee and Jake Snow. I
Oh
don't
my
know if
God,
you
I did
followed
too. And I
them.
wanted to be, I started a travel blog for the same reason because I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I need this in my life. Like this has to be enough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny. I actually got to meet them. You end up seeing like so many people here in Bali, so now it's not even a big deal. But I remember meeting them for the first time, and I had to tell them, I was like, "Oh my gosh, you guys changed my life. Like, you're the whole reason I'm in Bali, and now I'm living here and making money online, and it was all because of you." I was just like gushing to them.
Ah, I love it. Fangirling.
Yeah. Sometimes I still get starstruck by like the Bali influencers who live here. When I see them at the gym, I'm like, oh, but yeah, I would say that was pretty great manifestation. I feel like when I do the work, like really go hard on the work when it
Yeah.
comes to relationships, I feel like I start to open up to receiving like dates and things like that. So I recently invested in a feminine energy program because I don't know, Bali just tends to attract a lot of people who are avoidant or healing from something or just broken little birds or people who are
Mm,
traveling. And I know that in order to attract just a really high quality masculine man who's on a mission, he's building things,
yeah.
yeah, to attract that type of guy, I feel like I really need to be in my feminine. So I feel really supported right now, but I have support helping me get into my feminine energy to attract men. And I have a roster of 3 guys right now. And it feels great because I have an anxious attachment style. And so when I
Mm,
really, really like a guy and he's not texting me back, I get all antsy and I'm like, did I say something wrong? I don't know. Like,
yeah.
I'm just, yeah, working on that. So it's nice to have like a little man funnel roster of 3 because if he's not giving me attention, I'm getting it from the other guys.
A man funnel. I love that. A man funnel. That is amazing. I'm going to use that. Oh, got my man
Yeah, I
funnel.
actually that's that term I learned from my feminine energy mentor.
Okay.
But yeah, but I feel like I'm really good at manifesting things that I don't have a lot of resistance to is what I found. Like
Mm,
the things I have the least amount of resistance to are so easy to manifest. So right now I feel like that is guys for me. I feel like the things that I want the most, like money, for example, that's something that I'm still working on trying to like unlock that. Cause like
hmm.
I want it so bad, but it's so interesting because I was thinking that the money would flow through my business, like my coaching business. So in one of the self-talk rampages, I say, I make thousands of dollars daily. I make thousands of dollars daily. I make thousands of dollars daily. So bizarre. Something just like jumped from Bali things. I'm like, some animal just jumped from the roof. Don't
Oh my God. That's kind
Anyways,
of terrifying.
okay,
Mm.
so it was so weird. So I was saying this rampage to myself every single day. And then randomly I get added into this WhatsApp group of 100 people and it's crypto trading. I am not a
Okay.
crypto. Yeah, I am not a crypto girly. Just goes over my head. I'm just a girl. So I didn't pay it any mind. I got added to this group like 3 weeks ago and I was
Yeah.
just ignoring all the messages, whatever. I was like, I'm not a crypto girl, but I didn't remove myself from the group. And then once I started doing all this identity work and telling, because in those self talk rampages, I also say things like, I'm really good at investing my money. I'm really good at building
Yeah.
wealth. I'm really good at like just all of those sorts of things.
Yeah.
I finally started looking at this crypto group and I was like, what is going on in here? And then it's literally someone who is teaching you for free how to trade. And all you have to do is just put the money in and he tells you when to buy and when to sell. Like it was literally that easy. And I was like, this feels too good to be true. But
Wow.
I like did the math and figured out like how much money I would need to like put in to trade daily to be able to earn the money that I wanted. And like, I don't know, things just started seeming more real. And I actually woke up at 4 a.m. last night and did my first trade and like made 35% profit. And I was like, is this how did I manifest this? Like, because you know how money just wants to flow through the path of least resistance, right?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I'm like, maybe that's what I manifested. I don't know. It was so weird though, because I don't know how I got added into this group because like I'm the only person in Bali. Everyone's American, and I don't know a single person in that group. It was just bizarre.
I'd say you could definitely manifested that. Like it's when you're open to like not confining the house so much, like things flow in different ways that we're never expecting it to flow through, right? So that's totally if you're saying I make thousands like daily, there's like multiple avenues. And I think that is like one of the key parts of like a wealth mindset. I love the book. I'm reading it again, Secrets of a Millionaire Mindset. And it really talks about, yeah, like getting good with investing your money and like wealthy mindset is like having multiple pathways for income to come through, right? And like not just maybe like one stream, but like getting innovative and like thinking big. So that could definitely be something that you manifested as well. That's so fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
going to count it as a win.
Amazing. I'm here. I'm not a crypto girl as well. And like when it comes to like investing and learning how all the stocks work, like my mind just shuts down when it's like that. But that's one of my that's like I've got my basic savings and stuff that I invest into, but like when it comes to like really understanding the bigger picture, I'm like, nope, don't want to know. But at the same time, I'm like,
I
okay,
know.
that's like, yeah, that's like wealthy woman mindset, abundant woman mindset knows how to do that. So that's part of like some of the identity work I'm trying to do as well, is like really start making time like once a week. I joined it's like Females Who Invest is like the name of them, but I've got their
Mhm.
book and I have their membership. So I'm going to start like going to more of their like membership classes and like actually learning more about that and creating a plan where I need to get better with that. But yeah, I think like it's true, right? Money wants to flow to us, but if we're constricting it, or like, it's like money's the masculine energy, right? We need to be in our feminine and allow it to like flow into us like a river, like in and out, versus like a lot of people look at it as like a reservoir. It's like, oh my God, it's emptying. I need to like constantly hold on to it, where that's blocking it as well from flowing in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally
Yeah,
feel that.
definitely. I'd love to ask you, because I know this is a big one as well. Like when it comes to like you did a pretty big like risk that not many people would feel comfortable doing. Moving to Bali, not having a job, starting from like scratch, and you maintained it. And entrepreneurship can be rough, right? We can have months of like incredible high income months and then low months, and like balancing all that, like it can feel like a roller coaster at times. But like through your own journey, like how has your money mindset been, or have you navigated like have you had seasons like that you've had to go through in that before?
Yeah. Yeah. So many seasons. When I first moved to Bali, I had such a scarcity mindset, but of course I did because I was so used to getting a bi-weekly paycheck from my nursing job. So
Yeah.
I was hoarding all my money. I did make, oh no, I wouldn't say I was hoarding. Like I really believed in myself. I did hire a business coach that year. I did also invest in another program. So it wasn't like I was hoarding my money, but I just remember I was still living in a hostel because I was too scared to live in a villa. And I
Mm.
just remember staying in my hostel bunk, like praying for the day that I could order both a cappuccino and a kombucha at the same time. Like that was like my dream. I was like, I want to order two beverages at breakfast, and that
Oh
would
my
be
God.
goals.
That's my bougie rich girl life. Two
Yeah.
beverages.
Yeah, but I've been through so many different money cycles. So I remember when I moved to Bali, I still had a decent savings. I wasn't one of those girlies who just like moved to Bali with $500 in her bank account. That would freak me the F out. I had a safety net because I'd been nursing
Yes.
for 4 years already. So I did have savings. I had like 20 grand in savings. So I had that cushion, which felt really nice. I don't
Okay. Yeah.
recommend people to just go all in on something and have nothing. Cause I feel like it's just you just feel like you're kind of pushing upstream.
Yeah.
So that's why I like when people just quit their business with no savings and go all in on another business. I'm just like, for me personally, I like having that safety cushion. But I just remember thinking my bank account is stuck. And I had this limiting belief for a year that my bank account is stuck. And even
Mm.
though I was making a lot of money at the time, I don't know where the money was going. It was literally falling through my fingers. I wasn't even investing or buying a lot of stuff. It's just, I had this limiting belief that my bank account was stuck. And that was a belief I held for a year until I learned about NLP and how to
Yeah.
kind of reprogram beliefs. So I was able to get rid of that belief through my favorite technique, single belief change, which we did together on a
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
But then I went through a phase in my business also where I felt like if I stopped working, the money would stop flowing.
Yeah.
So I had this limiting belief, like if I wasn't working, I was feeling guilty. I could not slow down. I was like working 10-hour days, and I just I felt I would be at the Body Factory Spa, which is this bougie little gym in Bali. And I just remember laying in the lawn chair, like sending 20 DMs a day. Like I was doing so much busy work. And I just
Mm.
felt like I couldn't slow down. And then I had to get rid of that belief. And then I went through a phase in my business where I was making tons of money. I was making $20,000 cash a month with ease. And I felt like it wasn't enough because my mentor at the time was making 100K a month. So then I
Okay.
was like, I'm not good enough. I need to make more. And then I was pushing, 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 and so in my masculine to make more money. And that's
Yeah.
when I kind of burned out. So it's like, I feel like as an entrepreneur, like you're always going to have weird money things, I think,
Yeah.
no matter what stage you're at. Like I feel like I've been through so many iterations of things. Even like as a business owner of 6 years, I still deal with money scarcity here and there. Like I feel like it never really goes away, because then I feel like eventually you get to a point where I don't know, like the market is always changing too. Like things are changing, like social media is always changing. You're always having to stay on top of things. You're always having to innovate and keep up. So I don't know. I feel like you're constantly as an entrepreneur on the edge of your toes, and mindset work, money work, all of that
Yeah.
stuff is something that you never just quit.
Yeah.
You just have to keep doing it. But I feel like once you create a new identity, you'll
Hmm.
never go back to the old identity. I think that's the thing. I'm kind of feel like I'm coaching myself through this podcast because I'm realizing like I was able to do like single things to get rid of single limiting beliefs. But I feel like if you create a whole identity about yourself and you create an abundance identity, that's the way that you're kind of going to move past everything and not go backwards anymore.
Yeah, I love that you shared that. And yeah, we did the single belief change on the call, like you said, and it was so powerful. And NLP work is just incredible. I love that for mindset work. And I think that's so true that, because we see so much online and there's so much that's been ingrained, like 100K launches, like certain money, like numerical amounts that you can feel like you're not doing enough if you're not hitting that, right? And it can start from like newbie coaches or newbie whatever online service providers at like 2 3K a month. If they're not hitting that, they're not successful. Then it's 5K, then it's 10K. It's like those same amounts, but like it doesn't mean you're not being successful, right? It's like also looking at like what do you want? Like what do you want? Like do you want a 7 figure business? Do you want an 8 figure business? 9? Like I think that's where people get lost as well, is like stuck in that hustle mode and like that ticking the boxes, like achieving certain things, but like they're chasing that thing necessarily, but without the intention behind it sometimes, which I think can get lost in the process. I know I've had that before as well, like being like, oh my God, I'm not successful enough yet because I haven't reached this amount, or I need this amount of clients. And then I'm like, wait, I'm losing my joy of love of like actually helping people along the way. I felt like it was like this, I don't know, just this like resistance a bit there as well. So it's great to coming back to like that identity of like, yeah, I know I'm always going to be supported. I know I like have the knowledge and tools to take the action. Of course, you need that aligned action with manifestation as well. But I love that you shared that, like creating that identity around that abundant, wealthy business owner version of yourself who is like creating impact and, living a life they love as well, which is really important. Like I'm very much in this era where I'm like, I want to have the life, I want to have the relationships. I want to have the money. I want to have the business. I want to have it all. Like I want to be thriving and feeling good in all areas. And that to me is wealth. That's
Mhm.
success. And I think, we can get like lost along the way. And I know we were talking in the DMs the other day about like working out and being fit. And like that's something I used to love doing so much. And I feel like that's sort of fallen away because my gym shut down last year and there's not one nearby me. So it's been really difficult to like get to an actual gym. And I've been doing at home workouts, but I feel like I'm not as tight and toned as I used to be. And I was saying to you, like, I want to like tight snatched waist and I want a booty like
Yeah.
JLo ass again. It's not like
Yeah.
fully gone, but you know what I mean? And it's like, those are things
Yeah.
I love. And it's like sharing more about that. And then I think it's easy, we can fall into these seasons, of hustle as well. And also, I really love that you mentioned about like the mindset work and like the identity work. It never stops. And I think a lot of people get so caught up in like the strategy. I need another business like course or business thing in order to succeed. But it's like, yeah, you do need both. But like energetics, embodiment, identity, mindset is like so much of it. I would say it's like 60 to 80%, right, of that. And then it's like the action and the strategy behind that, because you're not going to take the action if you don't have the mindset and identity of the person who takes the action. Or if you do, it's going to feel really hard to do. There's going to be a lot of resistance. And then you might get your manifestation, or you might have a super high cash month or clients. And then you're going to be like, oh shit, how do I even handle this? Because this freaks me out, and you're not going to be able to hold it. And then you'll lose it. And that's like a big thing that I think really happens a lot in the entrepreneur space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree with all of that.
Yeah, amazing. Let's jump over to like marketing a little bit and messaging because yeah, for those of you who don't know, Laura and I worked together. We worked together for a month and she helped me refine my messaging, which is amazing, so good. And yeah, it was incredible to have that because it was something I was struggling with. And I think it's like, for me personally, I was struggling with the fact that I was like, I don't want to like have to like tone down and like narrow in so much on that like specific messaging, but like you made it fun, you made it really enjoyable, and you really helped me with that. But like, what is the one thing that you see the biggest problem of, or like something you would say to people when it comes to messaging and something to focus on or to help them in their business?
Yeah. There's so many things I could speak to on that. I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of people they, especially if they're doing more transformational work, like let's say, for example, you're a life coach and you can help
Yeah.
people get a lot of different outcomes. You can help with a lot of different things. People are just so scared to speak to one person. But the issue with that, I feel like back 4 years ago, 3 years ago,
Yeah.
you could get away with having a broader message. But now with, the rise of AI, we're inundated with so much content every day. People are scrolling for things that they are interested in, and they're scrolling for things that, yeah, they want to learn about or they want help with. And so if you think about your brain, right, your reticular activating system, it is going to filter out anything that is not relevant to you. And
Yeah.
so when you're trying to speak to everyone and you have a really broad message and your ideal clients are scrolling, they're just going to skip right over your content if it's not specifically speaking to them. And they're like, ooh, this is for me. Ooh, like I want to read that. So narrowing down is really important, but it's not necessarily like niching down. I like to think of it in terms of what, if you could work with anyone, like what is the situation that you love helping people the most with? Like what are the different
Mm,
scenarios and problems and things that are going on in their day-to-day life that you love helping with? And what is that outcome that they want to get out of that situation?
yeah.
Because yeah, I've just seen a lot of people just water down their message because yeah, at the end of the day, they just want to help everyone, work with everyone, but you need to
Yeah.
go specific to capture people's attention.
Yeah, I think that's so important as well, and I think that is hard for people to move away from because it's true. They want to help everybody, right? Like I know that's like wait, but I want to help like women, and it's like that niching down can feel hard. But I think that is such an awesome point that you brought in like the reticular activating system, and if you understand like how that works with NLP and mindset, like that is such a great analogy. And actually, I felt when you said that, I was like, ooh, I like that. Like kind of belief shift or like a reframe around that as well, which is really cool to say. Um, and yeah, I'd love to know as well, like Bali life. I'm coming to Bali in a few weeks, which is amazing. I know we're going to meet up, which I'm so excited to meet you as well in real life. And yeah, what's it like living in Bali? What's Bali life been like?
Oh my gosh. Bali, no one's asked me this in a long time. I feel like I could speak
Mm,
to so many things. I feel like you get initiated when you come to Bali. I will say
oh
that
my
it is a
gosh.
place of healing. It's like I know so many people who get to the airport and they get their phone stolen or like, I don't know, you just really have to surrender here because Bali takes you and teaches you a lot of lessons. Like you learn so many things.
Yeah.
I don't want to warn you, but or I don't want to like freak you out. But yeah, I feel like you come to Bali and you heal.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But Bali is beautiful. The lifestyle here is amazing. Like I love it because I'm a very adventurous person
Yeah.
and I like doing new things. And so every week there's a new restaurant that's popping up, like a bougie, yummy new restaurant, or you can go hike a volcano, you can go to a waterfall, you can do a kundalini activation or go do some
Mm,
spiritual psychic thing. You can go to Pilates, like there's lots of bougie gyms. It's just there's an endless amount of things to do. So the only bad thing about Bali is people come and go. A lot of people don't live here permanently. So you're
yeah.
always having to say goodbye to people, especially dating as well. Like people come here and they're just on holiday. And so you don't want to always go on dates with people who are just here for 2 weeks, like a tourist,
Yeah, I
unless
totally
you
get
just want to
that.
have a little fun little fling with a tourist. But I don't know. It's a very interesting place, but I also love it too because everyone here I feel like is on the same wavelength in terms of their health. Everyone here is so healthy. Like everyone is at the spa doing the ice bath, doing the sauna, working out. Like everyone's really fit, puts their health a priority. A lot of like-minded people, entrepreneurs. Um, but the other thing too is because Bali is so peaceful and the energy here is so nice. What I'm finding and realizing is I feel like Bali makes people lazy in terms of
Mm,
work.
I
So
can see
like
how
if
that would be.
I'm yeah. So, like, if I'm trying to manifest a really masculine man who is just on a mission, he's building a company, he's building businesses, he's rich, he's doing all these things. I don't know. I feel like Bali attracts feminine men. A lot of men
Oh
here are
no.
feminine.
Okay.
avoidant. They don't want to settle down. There's lots of options, lots of choice.
Oh gosh.
So I recently set my Hinge profile to Dubai.
I love this.
I'm like, is my man here? I don't know. And it's so bizarre. Master manifester over here. I matched with this really hot, rich guy from Dubai who also lives in Bali, and he's coming here on Sunday.
Okay, like look at that, both places, right? Who also comes to Bali. That's amazing. I love that. Do
I
you know my
know.
Hinge profile is still set to Mallorca? Because I was just in Mallorca, and then like dating in Scotland, I won't even get started on it, but it's just been like not a vibe for me at all. Well, for the type of person I'm looking for. I'm not saying that there's no good men in Scotland. I just mean the type of guy that I'm looking to date sounds like he's probably hanging out in more places like Bali or like
Yeah.
where a lot more entrepreneurial minded, healthy like
Yeah.
men who aren't hanging out at pubs really are kind of there more.
Yeah.
So
Well, maybe you'll
yeah,
meet your guy here because I feel like that's the
I
best time
know.
to meet a person is when you're traveling.
Yeah, when you're sort of in that open state. It's so funny you mentioned like Bali initiates you. So I went to Bali for the first time in 2017 because I spent a year living in Australia. And in this week I was there, I like fell into a ditch at nighttime. We were just coming back from the Gili Islands, my friend and it felt like just walking, it was pitch black, it looked like a sidewalk, and just like fell like 5 feet down. And I like thought I broke my knee. I got like pretty battered and it was pretty brutal. Yeah. And I couldn't walk properly for like 3 months, but luckily this like couple came and pulled me out. And it was just like, I was just in like complete shock. And like the hostel didn't even have like a first aid kit. They were like, they offered to take me, the couple, to like the hospital, which was half an hour away, but it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I was just in shock. I was like, no, I don't know what the hospital's like in Bali. I might have a flesh eating disease because it was like there was water and stuff. I was just freaking out. So I put
Yeah.
like iodine on it. And I was just like, okay, I'll be tough. It's fine. Next morning, went to a clinic. I got it all fixed up. It was fine. But the like kind of the catch to the story of when you're saying like Bali initiates you, we went to like this laundry service the next day, and like I'm like just bandaged up. I've got this like brace around my knee, like, and the woman who's working there, she's Balinese, and she's like, what happened to you? And I was like, oh, I got or I said, I got a tattoo in Bali. She goes, no, you didn't get a tattoo in Bali. She goes, Bali tattooed you. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. It was so that's why I feel I'm like, yep, I definitely got initiated in Bali during that time. And my friend and I, she got Bali belly really bad, and then I got it afterward. And like, funny story, so she's from Italy. And at the time, her English wasn't like that great. She just started speaking English. So I don't know how we managed like a whole week together. Like we made it work. And she was kind of saying, so we were going out one night, and she was saying like my pancia, which in Italian means stomach. And she had been sort of like worried about like gaining weight in our time in Australia. She'd been like kind of putting on a bit of weight, like the freshman 15 vibe. And I was just like, okay, we're out, we're having fun, we're in Bali. Don't worry about what your like weight is now. Like, let's just have a great week and worry about it when we get back home. And she was like, no, my pancha. And she got really sick because she was saying like she had the Bali belly, and I didn't understand. And then I got it the
Oh,
next day, and she's like, aha, now you got it. Like, so it was just like two of us sharing this. I don't know. We were in some like little guest house with one bathroom, both with Bali belly. And like, I remember I had it on
oh
the
no.
plane ride back, and it was just like a week of it. It was so brutal. But yeah, hoping that doesn't happen again. But I definitely
No,
got
you
the
should be
initiation from
good.
Bali.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. It's like, all right, you want to heal? Let's go, baby.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Well, I've definitely been on a healing journey a lot over the past 2 years. So hopefully not too much more will be coming up, because I'm in a season of like, I just want to have fun. I want to be like more play, more joy. I'm kind of
Oh,
like coming out of
same.
this healing season. Yeah.
Literally same. The other thing I manifested, I should say I'll speak to this one thing. It's a short story, but I wrote because got broken up with like a little over a
Mm,
year ago, and it took me
yeah.
so long to get over this man. And I ended up writing a forgiveness letter because I was so sick of him just taking up mental space in my
Space.
head. And
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like the reason why I haven't been able to call in a boyfriend or whatever I want is because I still have this attachment to him. So I wrote a forgiveness letter.
Yeah.
So bizarre. Literally 2 days later, his new girlfriend reaches out to me on Instagram and was like, Laura, can we have a chat? And I was like, yeah, sure. What about? And she was like, obviously it was about my ex. I guess he had like broken up with her, and a very similar way as me. I think they're still together, whatever. He ended up, yeah, breaking up with her. I became friends with her because she's actually really freaking cool. And we like had a bunch of
I
phone
love
chats
that.
and she was just asking me for the tea. So love a girl's girl. But then he ended up coming to Bali. I saw him because I haven't seen him since we broke up for over a year. I saw him scooting on his scooter and like we had chats, and it was just this full circle moment where I just realized like he's her problem now. Like, because their relationship was like up and down all around too, just like mine. And I was like, he's literally just repeating the same pattern with her. And it was just such nice closure for me
Yeah.
because now I feel like we just moved through like this eclipse and we're just moving through Aries season. And I feel like now is kind of go time and like identity shifting time and manifesting time and the time to set goals and make moves. And it was just the perfect end to that chapter. But I
Oh,
forgot that was also just a crazy thing I manifested. Whenever I do cord cuttings or anything like that, it just always, yeah, brings things up.
yeah, yeah, I remember you talking about that as well. And like it's so interesting how that happens sometimes, especially because you were saying he doesn't even live in Bali and then he was there. And to like run into him. But I think it's so good that you have that closure because sometimes if we don't, like I've been there before where I've like, yeah, energetically hung on to someone I dated for like a really long time because I was like really into them. And I've struggled with anxious attachment before as well. And it's like, it's not fun. I think I'm swinging over to the other side of it now.
Oh
But
my gosh, I love it. I mean, I don't love
yeah,
it,
I think I'm
but
being a bit
like
more avoidant at the
being
moment.
avoidant is just more fun. Hey,
It
you're
kind of
just like,
is. I'm
yeah,
like,
mini
your
fucks.
turn to be anxious this time. No, that's
Yeah.
not a healthy mindset, but like, it's just, I need to find the balance a bit more. Yeah. I haven't dated
Yeah.
in a while. I've been on a dating break for like over a year now. Cause
Wow.
I got like, haven't really actually talked openly about this as much, but I got breadcrumbed or like love bombed hard last year in
Yeah.
Valencia. I dated this guy for like 6 weeks and it was just so fast. Like we were doing everything together. It was really intense. He was like, we were going to places that were on my vision board. Like he took me away for a weekend, was treating me such like a queen, paying for everything. I met like parts of his family. He like, it was just crazy. Like everything was just, I was like, oh my God, is this my person? Cause he had literally like was ticking all the boxes on the list I was manifesting.
Yeah.
And I even future scripted about it before I went to Valencia. I wrote about like, I've met this guy, like things are going so well, blah, blah, blah. Like basically it was like almost to a T. And then right when I was leaving, I was like, kind of like, hey, like I'd love to invite you to Edinburgh, but like I want to know what you think this is. Like, do you want to continue anything? And he was just like, no. I was like, what? I was just so surprised because we hadn't actually talked about like, and I was realizing, okay, I need to put my boundaries in place more of like communicating more about what I need. But I think because I was on holiday, I was there working remotely. I hadn't really thought about like, this is what I'm looking for. Like it just, the actions were speaking louder. So that was like a weird example of like the actions were there, but like we hadn't really talked about it. And he was saying all this stuff like, we're a perfect match. I'm so glad we met. You're such a gift meeting you, like all those things. And then that happened and it was just really bizarre.
Yeah.
But and like the weird thing was he cried at the airport when I left because I said I didn't want to stay in touch anymore. He's like, well, he drove me to the airport. He's like, can I still stay in touch with you? I want to still connect with you. And I was like, no, like, sorry, no. And, I was really proud of myself for having those boundaries in place and he was like wanting to stay in touch, but yeah. And then I remember he mentioned to me after that, like, he's like, oh, I think I like maybe need to look at some patterns I have because I've had someone else tell me that I've done this before, like led them on. And I was like, well, clearly that's something you need to work on. Right. And it's like, yeah, it was just a good invitation of like, where am I attracting this type of guy in, or like, where was I not having my
Mm.
boundaries enough? So that sort of put me on a bit of like, not that I was hung up on him necessarily. It was just the fact that I was like, I'm taking a break just to date myself for a while, get really clear on what I want, focus on my
Yeah.
business. But now I'm in the season of like, I'm coming to Bali. I'm feeling a lot more of my feminine energy. I'm feeling really good. And I want to start dating again. And I'm like super excited to see what unfolds. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Love
Yeah.
bombing is crazy. I feel like it has
Right.
to happen to everyone once to kind of know and be able to tell the signs.
Yeah.
I was just love bombed recently and
Oh, I'm sorry.
well, I like know the signs right straight away. So I just, yeah, like told him to kick rocks within like 2 weeks.
Kick him to the
It
curb.
was
Yeah.
just, yeah, it was like, so he was calling me wife and like telling me
Oh,
like like telling me all these places he wanted to go with me
Yeah.
and like wanting me to like come and stay with him. He's like, you can come and stay at my place in London. And I'm like, bro, we've literally only been on one date. Like, what? It was just like too much. And like I think the old version of me would have been like, oh my God, yeah, like fairy tale, la la la. And I
Yeah.
was like, bro, like you don't even know me and you want me to like come and live with you in London? What? You were calling me wifey? Like it was, yeah. But yeah, old Laura would have been like, oh my God, yeah.
It's hard
I
though,
am a
right? Because
wifey.
it's hard because we like with what we're fed on like, Disney movies and what romance should be like that feels like a dream. Like, oh my God, I just met this guy, it's true love. Like, I can see how like that mentality would kick in. Like, because you think like if you have a connection and they're talking to you that way, it's so easy to get love bombed. But yeah, I totally feel you. It's like, okay, getting into that, nope, staying in my queen energy, having boundaries in place, standards, and yeah, like I know for me, I used to like really attract emotionally unavailable men, like guys that had just gotten out of
Yeah.
relationships or like would act like we were in a relationship, but then the minute it would come to like, well, the 3 month or 4 month, like what are we? It'd be like, oh no, I'm not ready to commit. But I'm like, but you've even like got to a point where you've kind of like moved in with me practically. Like that's almost happened before.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like these
And
situationships and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
situationships. And I was like, okay, what am I like? I had to really look at my own dating and like past and things that I was like allowing for that to be in my world. So, but it's great because now that I've like when you do the inner healing, the inner work, and I'm like, those type of guys don't even come into like my radius anymore. And if they do, I'm same with you. I'm like,
Exactly.
you can go. You're not
Get the
welcome
ick.
here. Bye. Yeah, get the ick. Bye. Like, not a vibe.
Yeah.
Not a vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. It's kind of like you put yourself into this energy of you're the queen, you're the prize, and you're the one who's choosing. Um,
Exactly.
and like the second you see a red flag or yeah, just something that I don't know, just isn't deemed high value enough for you, you just kind of kick them to the curb. I feel like the best strategy for dating is my mentor called this a man funnel, but just like dating multiple guys at once. So
Hmm.
like if you are deeply in your feminine, this is what she was saying. I thought this like stuck with me and I've been kind of embodying this energy, but it's like if you're deeply in your feminine, masculine men can tell that other men want you. So it almost
Yeah.
turns on men's primal instinct to compete for you. So for example, I was at the spa yesterday with all my guys have names. So like I was with Sexy Jack.
Love it.
We love Sexy Jack. He's so hot. So I was with Sexy Jack at the spa and then oh my God, I call him Daddy Blake. Dubai. Daddy Blake calls me, like video calls me. So I go into the pool and like sit in the pool and like I'm video calling and being super flirty. And like I think the old version of me would have like, I don't know, felt guilty or been like, oh, like I need to call this guy back later. This guy can't know that I'm on the call with someone else. But it's just kind of like, no, like obviously you're the prize. And obviously there's lots of men who are chasing you. So just kind of on instinct and they can just smell it. Like I went back to Jack and he didn't ask me who I was talking to, but if he did ask me, I would have just been like, oh yeah, I was just a friend. But like I'm sure he knew it was a guy. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm kind of in this energy where I'm just like, yeah, I'm the prize and all of you can fight for me and the cream rises to the top.
I love that. No, but it's true. It's like you should be like, we're not like until like you choose maybe to be in like divine union to call it or like a
Yeah.
relationship like with someone, then like you're not anyone's woman, right? You're like
Yeah,
sharing your time. Like so you have every right to be doing that.
exactly.
And I totally feel you because I would have been the same way, like feeling guilty in the past. I haven't been in a situation in a while where I've been dating multiple men, but I'm like, ooh, this is gonna get exciting. Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
that's awesome that you're doing that man funnel. I'm all about that. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like until a man is providing for you, like whatever you want, financially, physically, emotionally, like checking all three of those things, I feel like you shouldn't settle down until, yeah, those three things are checked. I saw someone even say, like, until I have a ring on my finger, I'm single, which I
Mm,
also was like, that's kind of an interesting take because I'm 33. Not that my biological clock is ticking, but kind of. I mean, I feel like 35 is when I'm gonna kind of be sweating a bit. I'm gonna be like, okay, okay.
if
Like I
you want
really need to
kids,
find a
yeah.
person.
If yeah.
But it's like if you let's say I were to date someone for the next like I get into a relationship and I date someone for 2 years and then they end up breaking up with me in 2 years, And then now I'm 35 and I just wasted like another 2 years with someone who wasn't my forever person. It's almost kind of like, I don't know. I kind of have this mentality where I'm like, if you really want to lock me down, you can put a ring on my finger. But until then, like, I'm not going to give you 100% of me or all of me.
Yeah,
Kind of.
I totally get that. And I think like I think it's true. Like not that we have that biological clock ticking. I mean, it depends if but if you do want kids, then that is something you need to think about, right? Just like so I totally get that. And yeah, I mean, as we get older, we're not like in our 20s anymore. You know, and everyone's different, of course, but I definitely feel you. I'm kind of in that moment where I'm like, I don't really want to be spending so much time and effort with someone if I'm not 100% yes. I'm really enjoying this person. I feel like they're all in with me as well. Of course, we won't know what the future looks like, right? You can be with someone 10 years and it could end for various reasons, but it's
Mhm.
getting that like, do you feel safe in this relationship now? Do you feel like they're giving you everything you need? And if they're not, can they change that and work towards it? Or is it time to go? Because I 100% like you are the prize, we are the prize, right? And it's like time's valuable and energy's valuable, and it's not worth spending it on someone who isn't 100%. Hell yes, this woman's a queen, and I want to be with her.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I think the old version of me used to just kind of latch onto one guy,
yeah.
like the hot, mysterious,
Oh God, I know it.
sexy, hot and cold guy. And I would
Yep,
just waste so much time like trying to
the
prove
bad
myself,
boy.
pick like, yeah. And then, yeah, 6 months, 1 year would go by and I'm like, what was I doing? Now I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. I just have this mentality where I'm like, everyone is going to fight for me.
Oh,
I am
I'm
the
all for
prize. I
this.
am the Bali queen on the Bali island.
I love this because I totally resonate with this because I was very much the same. I would be like, yeah, bad boy, like leather jacket, like kind of vibes, like hot and cold, but like just so sexy, and I'd fall for it. And then I would turn into a doormat as well. Like I would just be like man pleasing. I'd be like, oh, like he likes me. I'm so excited. Like waiting for him to call, waiting for this, waiting for that. I'm like, fuck that. No,
Yeah,
not available for that anymore at all. Like I'm the same. I want a guy who's like in his healthy masculine, no games, like willing to show up, willing to like make me feel like safe, providing, and yeah, totally there for that.
exactly.
Yeah.
And something I learned from my femme energy mentor also is those bad boys are
Yeah.
actually like more leaning more towards being in their feminine, because
Because
she
they're
was
like
saying
avoidant.
like, if yeah, like avoidant men are more in their feminine energy, because a masculine man is always wanting to build something with you and work towards a goal and like setting intention and is moving forward,
Yeah.
right? So a masculine guy would say, for example, if he wanted to date you, he would say, "Hey, what are your plans Saturday night? Can I take you out?" Like very masculine. No, avoidant guy would be like, "Hey, what are you up to this weekend? Hey, what are you doing?" Like they're not going to say
Not as
explicitly like, "I
direct.
want to take you out." Like they're
Yeah.
more in their feminine.
It's like the
So,
wounded feminine, maybe. I'm not that
yeah.
well versed on all the like wounded the sides of it that much, but um yeah, I totally get that because like male energy is like direct, right? I'm doing a bit of tantra studying as well, and it's like they talk about like it penetrates, like the male energy penetrates. So that's where that directness would be like, I want you, I'm showing up, let's go out. Versus like pick,
Yeah.
pick a time and place, be ready at this time, I'm gonna get you, like which is so sexy. Versus like, yeah, like let's go on a date. Like I've had that, oh God, dating out sometimes. Like these guys who
Yeah.
are just like, they can't even pick a place. Like they can't even buy me a drink. And I'm like, really? If you
It
can't buy
gives
me a
me
drink
the
on the
ick.
first date, like, yeah, I never like book dinners or anything on a first date because like I don't want to spend dinner with someone I'm like not sure I'm gonna really like. But and then it's like takes the awkwardness of like who's paying, like, and but it's like, yeah, someone can't even buy you a coffee or something on like a first date. Like, come on,
That's a friend. That's a friend.
that is a friend, yeah. Or if you like, I don't know. I've definitely like split the bills on the first date. That's not a complete. That's not 100% a deal breaker if I had an amazing time with someone, but it's also not a turn on. Definitely not a turn on. Yeah, that's
Oh
been.
no.
Yeah, would that be a
Aw.
hard no
I
for
would
you?
no. If a guy asked me to split the bill, I would be like, "Oh, I didn't know you just wanted to be friends."
I love
Because it's
it.
like a this is how I think of it too. It's like if I wanted to take you out and I wanted to like take you to like a place that I really liked and I wanted to ask you questions and like I don't know, ask you things about your business, I would pay because I'm the one who invited you out. That's kind of how I
Mm,
think about it. So if a guy is inviting you to dinner, he should pay because he's the one who invited you. But if if let's say like I'm a different ethnicity, like I'm Indian and I want to take you, like we've been on 3 dates already and now I want to take you to this like really cute Indian restaurant, and kind of show you like my scene and my world and the kind of foods I like to eat, then I would pay because I'm inviting you. So I feel like it's just common courtesy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always so interesting. Everyone's different, like different takes on it. Like I said,
Yeah.
I don't know if it'd be 100% deal break for me, like, but it's definitely not attractive. Like I'm kind of like it would probably be like amazing, amazing person for me
Yeah.
to like go on a second date, but it would just be like, I would sort of lose that like interest a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It kills there's this guy I follow on TikTok. He's so funny. The Daddy Academy guy. Yeah. It just like kills the attraction
it
when a guy's
does.
like, do you want a 50-50? You're just like, it kills now I'm like, I don't desire you as much.
It totally does, yeah, and I'm not, like, opposed to paying, like, on dates, but, like, when you've been on, like I don't know, I just find it's really sexy, and it feels like that masculine energy, like, the guy's providing sort of in that first, like, 1 or 2 dates, or, like, then I'm happy to, like, pay on the 2nd or 3rd date or, like, kind of, like, work out things differently that way, but, yeah, just in the very beginning, like, it just feels like it's like that it doesn't feel like they're, like, hunting for you, if that's the right word, like, kind of, like,
Yeah.
trying to win you over as much, you know?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
a masculine guy would never make you pay because he would literally feel emasculated if he was like, will you split the bill? Like a
Yeah.
masculine guy would never, he would never.
Oh gosh, I went on this date like must have been 2 years ago now, and honestly, it would turn me off so bad. We'd been on like 2 or 3 dates, and like I didn't realize, but like yeah, he was just like hadn't really paid for anything, or I'd been paying for like I even picked up the stuff on the first date, went to like this picnic, and then it was like our third date, and we were at this place and like getting some like wine and food, and he was like he just looked at the thing. It was like a bottle of wine because it's like oh a glass, like we might as well share a bottle. And he's like, oh yeah, okay, that's 20 pounds. So it's 10 pounds each. Sure, that sounds good. And I was like, oh no, like, no, no, no. I was so turned off on that. I was like, okay. That was like probably some of the ending times around my dating in Scotland.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I have never left a date, but I think if that happened, I think I would have walked out in the middle of a date.
Yeah, it was like that was yeah, it was pretty close to that happening. So the date didn't end
Yeah.
that long after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Amazing. Well, Laura, this has been such a fun conversation. I've loved it. We've talked about everything like business, dating, spirituality, Bali life. And I'd love to know as well, what is something exciting you have coming up, or if people want to find you, work with you, and like master their messaging, what do you have kind of on the go at the moment?
Yeah. So every week I do free marketing, messaging, self concept trainings every Thursday. So I'll send your listeners a link and you can join that. They're just free Zoom calls, and there's a resource studio with lots and lots of trainings for you to binge. And then coming up, I have been in the works for creating Soft Girl Marketing, which is going to be my signature program.
Yeah.
That's going to be coming soon, where I just take everyone through my 3-step framework to help attract embodying that next level self concept, upgrading your messaging so that you know exactly what to say in your content to pull forward those clients, and then infusing it into a simple marketing system that's psychology based. So you feel very accountable and consistent with your content. You don't feel like you're trying all these different strategies and you're all over the place. So that's kind of the system that we go through. So stay tuned for that. It's not ready, but would love for your listeners to jump in on the free marketing trainings every week.
Amazing. I will leave that in the show notes for everyone. Because yeah, obviously after working with you for the past month and like seeing some of your trainings, highly recommend you join in. It's so worth it. You're such an amazing, amazing coach and amazing at messaging as well. And yeah, I will leave all your Instagram and anything as well in the show notes as well. And Laura, I think by the time this goes live, I will probably already be in Bali, and yeah, we'll definitely have to catch up when I'm over there.
Amazing. Thank you so much
Um,
for having me. Yeah, I loved our chat on all the things.
it was so fun. I love having that. I haven't had a good like girl chat in a while. Oh,
Yeah.
amazing. All right. Thanks so much.
Bye.